March of 2023 is the most important energetic shift of this year because Saturn has now entered Pisces and Pluto is about to enter Aquarius. Hello Stargazers, Bryan Colter here, Evolutionary Astrologer, for another horoscope report for the upcoming Aries New Moon that happens in just a couple days. We will be saying some things about the Aries New Moon, but we're going to focus primarily on Saturn and Pluto entering new signs because those are whopper events, both happening in the same month. Hugely significant. It's good to be back in the saddle. I did miss my last full moon video. For those, many of you probably noticed that. It's been a while since I've posted. I came down with COVID and I was running a very high fever. I'm feeling much better now. Still got a little bit of a cough, but it's good to be back in action. Quick announcement. We have a nice little crew gathering every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I did have a little hiccup scheduling last Sunday because I forgot about the time change. But we're still doing it, and we're meeting up once every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific to do a collective meditation together, guided by me. And I'll put the Zoom link below. We'd love to have you join us. It's a meditation for world peace. It's known as the Twin Hearts meditation. It's one of my favorites. It's also very good for opening your heart chakra as well as your crown chakra. So put it on the calendar if you're interested. This Sunday, every Sunday, at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, now where I want to begin with this is talking about Saturn. Let me bring up the chart here. And as you can see, my mouse cursor here, you can see Saturn has officially entered into Pisces. It did on March 7th. It will continue to be in Pisces until May of 2025. So we've got a couple years here of this new sign, and this is a welcome change. You know, Saturn is known as the greater malefic in astrology. It does have a bad reputation. It's not a bad planet or a bad set of energies, but it is more hard. It's more challenging. That's just the face of Saturn. It represents this dense dimension of reality here, which can be quite challenging. Being born on planet Earth is not for the faint-hearted. You know, we're in the accelerated learning program here on planet Earth, which is very much, we could say, Saturn's domain. Just because of the weightiness and the heaviness and the suffering sometimes people can have on this planet, Saturn synchronistically will bring great challenge. And depending on how we face that challenge, that may or may not create more suffering within us. It depends on how, you know, what we bring at our level of consciousness in the face of those challenges. But needless to say, it does have a bad rap for those reasons. And Saturn entering into Pisces is a welcome change because since around 2018, when it entered Capricorn, and then it entered into Aquarius after that, so about 5 years of time, it was in those two signs, which just happened to be the two signs that Saturn rules. And whenever a planet's in its own sign, it's very strong. So really, we've been going through Saturn's domain or home turf over the last 5 years. And the evolutionary intention for that, individually as well as a collective, is to grow wiser, to mature, to come more in alignment with what reality actually is, because it does have that reality checkish energy. But basically, it's about growing up. And to accelerate that process, what Saturn synchronistically brings into the lives of the collective is more challenging circumstances. And of course, the last 5 years have been pretty rough, you know. But thankfully, those 5 years are now officially over. As of March of this year, Saturn has entered into Pisces. Now, of course, Saturn's always going to be about challenge. But now it's the challenges are shifting, and they're not as strong because Saturn's not as strong. Because we've had, Saturn times 2, the feeling, the weightiness, the heaviness, the oppressive feeling, the challenge of Saturn has been doubled, basically, the energy of it when it was in its own sign. But now it's not nearly as strong, but it still brings a certain set of challenges, albeit a welcome set of challenges. Now, we can play with this energy in a variety of different ways. You know, the symbols are impressionistic. How I want to enter into this is introducing the primary archetypes for these two symbols. We have Saturn, known as the wise elder archetype, and then we also have Pisces, which is the mystic archetype. Okay, so Pisces is a very spiritual sign. So we could say Pisces represents on some level higher dimensions of reality, because if you work with Pisces in your own personal life, or the planet that rules it for that matter, Neptune, which is also in Pisces right now, it's ultimately about spiritually developing. That's the positive evolutionary intention of it. So growing closer to God. So in some ways, we could say the mystic archetype of Pisces is about the ultimate truth with a capital T. Okay. Now, Saturn, on the other hand, of this dense dimension, the elder archetype, which is the elder is the symbol of wisdom, but that wisdom represents in large part what we've learned from our history, and passed down wisdom as part of that as well. So we could say that one of the challenges of Saturn and Pisces is this collision between historical truth, Saturn, and the ultimate truth with a capital T. Now, historical truth, just to quote Napoleon Bonaparte, actually, he once said, history is a lie agreed upon. So what happens is the dream track or the illusory track and the reality track over the next couple of years are just going to get much closer to each other. Okay. Now, I did mention briefly there that Neptune has been in Pisces since about 2012. Okay. Continue to be until 2025. And this has amazing implications for the spiritual development of humanity just on average. That's, again, it is about that mystic energy. But a challenge with Neptune and Pisces is mass delusion. Okay. Now, because of the challenges of Saturn over the last 5 years when it's been dominant, it's created this strong polarity between opposites, basically. And when we think about how that affects collective consciousness and tribal instinct, it's gone a little bit out of hand on the extremes of different ideas and different perspectives because of this mass delusion on this grand scale. Okay, so another, let's say, evolutionary opportunity for Saturn being in Pisces, and this will get even stronger later in the year, when this Saturn actually starts to meet up with Neptune later this year and next year. The evolutionary intention of this is getting closer to that reality with a capital R, that truth with a capital T, and kind of snapping many people out of the mass delusion. Now, working with Saturn and Pisces on a more personal level, Saturn is the planet of great work. Now, part of maturing and growing more wisdom, leveraging the superpower of Saturn is applying yourself, concentrating, and using your willpower to do something difficult, because Saturn is about challenging things, as I said. So the planet of commitment in the sign of the mystic is committing to some rigorous spiritual or meditative practice to open up the possibilities and taking advantage of this, as I said, grand evolutionary intention of Neptune and Pisces, which is that spiritual evolution piece. But Saturn likes consistency. It's like, how badly do you want it? Are you willing to commit yourself to this spiritual practice? Whatever that means for you. And in fact, you can look to see where you have Pisces in your own birth chart. And then from there, you can figure out, okay, since this is where Pisces is in my own chart, and you can tell by looking at the outer ring of the wheel of your personal birth chart. And let's say this was your chart, for example. Oh, there's Pisces in the 7th house. This is actually 15 degrees of Pisces. Saturn's at 1, so this Saturn is therefore going to be in the 6th house. But you can kind of eyeball it or pinpoint where Saturn is transiting through your own, which house of your own chart. It might be interacting with planets in your chart, in which case that would be even stronger Saturn symbolism in your life for you specifically. And then you can, based on that added information, the house, any planets Saturn is touching, can give you more specificity about, what spiritual development is trying to blossom within you, because each one of these houses represents a different area of life, a different way of working with it. So if you want to learn more about analyzing planets going through your own chart, I do sell, it's on sale right now, a 12-minute or $12 40-minute tutorial. I'll put a link above if you're interested. It's a good companion video for what I do here with these lunar updates. So how over the next couple years can I commit to this personal great work of spiritual development, in what way best suits me, and then committing to it and following through with it. So that's more personal stuff. Now, bouncing back to how this can affect the collective. And this is an interesting thing because, here I said the dream track and the reality track are going to come closer together. It's going to wake a lot of people up. But there's another confusing aspect of this. A lot of people will get confused because Saturn represents reality, right? Pisces can also, on the weaker side of it or more challenging shadow side of it, can represent illusion. I did reference it to mass delusion before, but there's another aspect of this where it's like Saturn and Pisces brings experiences to the collective where it's kind of hard to tell the difference between what is real and what is fake. What is reality and what is illusion? That's another big, big challenge. And that's a broad, generalized statement. But we can tie it in integratively with the other Whopper event, which hasn't quite started. It starts 2 days after the new moon, which is that Pluto entering into Aquarius. So Pluto will enter Aquarius for the first time, March 23rd, I think. And then for a couple months, it will continue to move forward, and then it'll slow down and go retrograde and then go back into Capricorn in June. And then it will end its retrogradation. It'll go forward. It'll enter Aquarius again early 2024. Okay. And then we'll have another brief exit. It kind of snicker snacks back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn. And it doesn't fully enter Aquarius officially until November of 2024, where it will continue to be in Aquarius until November of 2043. So basically, it's like a 20-year cycle, which is about to shift now. So between late March and June, we're getting a little sneak preview of what Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring to the collective, okay? So we're getting some key insights. So it's very important to pay close attention to what goes on now and the next couple months, because it's going to say a lot about what's going to continue to manifest all the way until 2043. But really, it's the first couple years of Pluto entering a new sign that are most significant, because Pluto brings about the extremes of whatever it touches. So when it entered into Capricorn in 2008, it brought out the extreme dark side of Capricorn, which is kind of crony capitalism, that sort of thing, greed and ambition and that sort of thing, mainly in a business context. And we had the banking crash right around then, right when it entered Capricorn. It brought out the extreme negative. It brought out the extreme positive of Capricorn too, because it does bring out the juxtaposition. But we tend to pay closest attention to the negative because it gets the most press, basically. And another reason why Pluto entering in Aquarius the first couple of years is most significant is we have all the slowest moving planets changing signs for the next few years until 2026. You got Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus all changing signs, which is super rare for all the slowest moving planets to change signs within a couple of years of each other. It's massive. So we have this triple pulse of major change over the next few years. Meanwhile, Pluto's bringing out the extremes of the polarity of Aquarius. So from late March until June, we're getting this sneak peek, paying close attention to what occurs. But this is all going to be connected to the extremes of Aquarius. And Aquarius is known as the rebel, the revolutionary, the genius. It's an air sign. It's on the mental plane. It's linked to, yes, genius, but also inventions, and it's a sign most closely linked to technology. And Pluto entering into Aquarius, in my opinion, completely ushers us into the Aquarian age. I think that we started to feel the Aquarian age towards the beginning of the 20th century, because if we observe reality, that's when technology really started to take off. We went from the Wright brothers' first flight to the moon in 66 years. That was a massive change, a technological revolution. And, now, of course, we have computers and we're in the age of information. That's a good title for Age of Aquarius, Age of Information, Age of Technology. So, we take this, circling back to Saturn and Pisces for a second, this whole idea of not telling the difference between what's real and not real. Technology has everything to do with that. This is where we tie in this idea of Aquarius with the Saturn and Pisces through integration. And just think of, for example, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, they're making beautiful pieces of art nowadays. And in fact, my wife, she was a digital artist, which is a very competitive field. It's really hard to make your way as a digital artist for many people. And she saw the writing on the wall. She was kind of horrified by seeing these beautiful pieces of digital art created by AI, because she recognized an already highly competitive market was going to almost become impossible. So she's always had a passion for oil painting, so she's fully transitioning towards that. That's a little harder for AI to do, at least at this point. Oil painting is just amazing. But anyhow, it's AI art is taken over. And in fact, I found this Twitter post by a guy named Santiago. I don't know who that is, but he said, Instagram is dead. In the next 3 to 5 years, every single image in social media will be generated by AI. And here's the kicker. It will be impossible to tell fake from reality. It's like, oh my God, when I read that, I was like, Saturn and Pisces, mixed with Pluto and Aquarius. And we take this same, and who knows if he's exactly right with what he's saying. I suspect he probably is. I don't know if he's right about the time frame. But when I read that, sometimes you read, as an astrologer, you just think in symbols, you read stuff online and you say, oh, Saturn and Pisces, and you just connect these symbols because we think and talk with these symbols in the forefront of our consciousness. And much like AI art, we also have AI face filters, where people can use, the face filters have been around for a while, but they were easy to spot. And if somebody put their hand in front of, between their face and the camera, it would blur and you could see it was really fake. But now they've become so advanced that you can't tell the difference between what is fake and what is reality. And not only are the face filters more beautiful, but they can put their hand in front of it, and it's really hard to tell the difference. And that's going to continue to grow and evolve because technology is rapidly evolving, especially over the next few years. There's also what's called deep fake videos, which are around, but they're going to become much more prevalent, adding to the confusion of the Saturn and Pisces time. Deep fake videos are basically AI-generated voices of people who are famous, like President Joe Biden or Joe Rogan or Trump or whoever, and then they say things that they never really said, but you can't tell the difference. The voice sounds almost perfect. And then they can even put, the other people's faces, they can do everything. And they're, this is only going to become much more confusing, much more challenging. And it's going to accelerate rapidly, especially now that Pluto is about to enter Aquarius. Now, if we think of the potentials, I did say, Pluto entering Aquarius brings out the extremes of either side. What are the extremes of the age of the information and technology and artificial intelligence? And we can just point to Hollywood to get a sense of it. It's like, okay, are we as a collective going to come from a place of egoism and manifest some horrific outcome involving AI that ends up being some Terminator, the movie Terminator set of circumstances where we self-annihilate or something like this? That would be the extreme dark, right? Pure egoism, pure suffering. Or will we manifest technologies because as humans, we're amazing engineers, to explore space, and have more of a Star Trek civilization. We're also explorers, humans are, that would be a more positive expression. So we have this polarity between light and dark. One comes more darkly from egoism, the other one from love and light. And it's usually a mixture of the two, obviously, because we're in this realm of duality. But which future are we going to co-create? I don't know. That's part of the fun of it. The future's not fixed. It's probabilistic. Sure, it's part of the fun of it. It's also part of the horror of it, the uncertainty. But, this is what we signed up for, a soul incarnate on planet Earth. And I found a quote online by Stephen Hawking, and he said, "The rise of powerful AI will either be the best or the worst thing that ever happened to humanity. We do not yet know which." Exactly. You don't know which. So it's the level of the collective consciousness, the frequency that we all exist at together, will say everything about the future we create, whether we're on the light side of the force or the dark side of the force. So the way I like to use astrology is to figure out, okay, just me on a personal level, how can I accelerate my growth and evolution, and in so doing, raise my own personal consciousness, which will have a positive effect in the lives of others, and in so doing, the collective consciousness. Because when we talk about frequency and vibration and level of consciousness, it's deeply connected to what we feel in any given moment and what we think in any given moment. Our thoughts and emotions will always teeter more towards egoism and fear and lack and anger or pride on the dark side, or love and light and connection and compassion, empathy, all those things on the light side. And the fundamental law of the emotional world, or the astral plane, and even parts of the mental plane, is attraction and repulsion. Like attracts like, opposites repel. So the more high consciousness we create within ourselves, the more of that will attract into our own lives and in the lives of others that are in our circles and have a positive impact on the collective. The more we do our own individual part, the Saturn in Pisces, how can I commit to this rigorous spiritual practice to climb the ladder of consciousness, to make the more positive, let's say, Star Trek civilization, so to speak, a little bit more likely? Well, for starters, you work that Saturn in Pisces. By the way, this is a new moon in Aries. I haven't even talked much about that, but new moons are about new beginnings. It's happening at 0 degrees of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. This is a fire sign. It's a cardinal sign. Aries is initiatory. It's about action. It's about moving forward. It's about manifesting the more positive, evolved expression of the warrior, which is about assertiveness and willpower and standing up for yourself and knowing when to set healthy boundaries and cultivating, yes, willpower, but also bravery and courage and strength, instead of the dark side of the force, which would be fear and anger and pride and reactivity and combativeness and competition. So during this new moon, how can I create a new beginning and assert myself, be more initiatory in my life, Aries style, like a warrior, a pioneer, and commit to a very strong spiritual practice, whatever that means for you, okay? And again, look to where Saturn and Pisces, what house it is in your chart. It'll give you more information that can help with this grand entrance we are all experiencing, this sneak preview of Pluto entering Aquarius. And really, when it boils down to it, that's the core evolutionary intentions here, in my opinion. And I just got to say that Pluto entering Aquarius, and then these other outer planets over the next few years, Neptune and Uranus changing signs, rapid acceleration into this Aquarian age. And I really think that the world we experience, start to see 2026 and beyond, is a completely different world that we're in now. And that's just a few years down the road. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be exciting, but also confusing, a little disorienting. But we're going to start moving very, very fast here. And because I see this moving so fast, I'm going to do something very dangerous here and start to get a little bit into predictive stuff and say, I really think this has to do with the evolution of physics, because whenever physics goes through a big breakthrough, our whole sense of reality changes. Now physics has kind of stagnated since the 50s. We kind of got stuck on string theory, but I really feel like we're on the precipice of having a major breakthrough in our understanding of physics, and in so doing, changing the way we look at reality. I tend to think it's going to be, rapid evolution in energy and free energy and travel, transportation. And I'm very excited for what the future brings. So in the meantime, we just observe, we see what this sneak preview has in store for us. We are having some of the banks start to fail. I think, was it 3 or 5 banks have gone belly up, which is kind of scary. Also kind of makes sense because Pluto is entering Aquarius, Saturn and Pisces right as this is happening. Pluto's, the U.S.'s birth chart, Pluto's in the second house of money and security. So the U.S.'s relationship to Pluto is very much centralized in that part of life. And it's probably going to lead to technology infusing itself in our money system. It's probably going to be some digital currency. Now, will it be a more controlling, centralized form of digital currency where the central banks maintain their power, which wouldn't be ideal for humanity, in my opinion? Or will it be something more decentralized, where there's an open ledger, where there's transparency, something similar to what crypto's doing in some instances, Again, I don't know, but changes are on the horizon. So we look at the big things that are happening, the big events over the next few months, and that's going to say a lot about where we're headed. And in the meantime, we focus on the Saturn and Pisces in our own personal life and grow that aspect of our life, grow closer to God and get to that higher frequency. So these are the core evolutionary intentions, with the goal being to expand our consciousness. Again, I'm happy to be back in the saddle. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, spread the love, spread the word. It really helps YouTube to put me in the algorithm as an important video. So, like, comment, all that good stuff. And now we're going to transition into the guided meditation and use headphones for best results. Enjoy. We're going to begin by just focusing on the breath. And inhale through your nose and feel the oxygen enter your body and feel your belly expand and then your lungs and chest. And as you exhale from the belly first and then the chest. So always belly first. Nice rhythmic breathing. And do a nice 4-second inhale and a 4-second exhale. And no pause between the in-breath or the out-breath. Comfortable breathing. And on the next inhale, visualize a snow-white etheric vitality coming in with the oxygen, coming into your lungs and belly, and then dispersing throughout your entire body. And with each inhale, you bring in more of this snow-white energy and see it travel through your entire body. And as you exhale, the air goes out, but the energy stays in. And with each breath, you see this white color in your body go brighter and brighter. You are a body of light. And with each inhale, this light is suffusing with every cell of your body. And now maintain this visualization process for a few more breaths. Now I want you to visualize going to your inner sanctuary and visualize a place that is sacred to you. This can be some sort of building like a temple or a mosque or something like this, or a cabin out in the woods, or some pyramid, or out in nature like a lake or a beach. This place that brings into you pure serenity and bliss, brings you into your own sacred space, where you can commune directly with what you consider to be the divine. And as you visualize yourself in this place, add as many colors, sights, sounds. Feel your feet on the ground, whatever that feels like. Make it very tactile. You might smell some odor like an incense, or hear some music playing, or the birds chirping, whatever it is. And make this visualization as vivid as you can. And each time you return to this sacred space, add more and more detail. And I'll give you a few moments to playfully co-create with the divine as you make this inner sanctuary. Now set a strong intention to carefully reflect on the energy of Libra as you try to find a healthy balance between kindness and honesty. Now I want you to visualize in your sacred place a sky blue color somewhere. If you're outside, that'll be easy. Just look up at the sky. If you're inside, maybe look out a window at the sky, or maybe some sky blue object, or some sky blue object in your sacred space. And really focus on that color. The frequency of sky blue is about serenity, peacefulness. And on your next inhale, visualize breathing in this sky blue color into your body and see it rest in your stomach and create a sky blue sphere in your abdomen. And with each inhale, you see the sky blue color grow brighter and brighter. You're bringing into your consciousness this very peaceful color. And focus on this visualization for a few more breaths. Now move your attention to your chest area. And now visualize a pink sphere, a rosy pink sphere in and around your chest. And with each inhale, this color grows brighter and brighter. And with each exhale, the air goes out, but the energy stays in. And as you're visualizing this pink color, feel self-love, unconditional self-love. You're an amazing extension of God, and honor the beauty that is you by feeling this self-love and gratitude. Now move the attention to the thyroid area and visualize an orange color as a sphere that's about the size of your fist. And with each inhale, you see it become more luminous. Now focus on the head center and visualize a white gold sphere in and around your head. And with each inhale, you see it burning brightly, almost like a golden sun, in and around your head. And all your thoughts are quiet. This also strengthens your creative thought center. And helps you to think more positive and noble thoughts and intentions. And with each inhale, you see this sun shine out in all directions, so bright it's blinding. And hold this visualization for a few more breaths. And now add the visualization of a golden halo above your head and above the golden sphere. And with each inhale, see that halo blazing in a white light. Now try to visualize all the colors at the same time. The sky blue sphere in your stomach, the rose sphere in your chest, the orange sphere in your throat, the white gold sphere in your head, and the bright gold halo on your head. Try to visualize them all at the same time. Now return your attention to your entire body, seeing that snow-white etheric vitality radiating in all directions from your body. And begin to stretch a little bit. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes.